Tonight, when the sun goes down, you are going to flip a switch. Light will flood the room, and you will not think twice about it. But for 99% of human history, that switch did not exist. When the sun set, the world went dark. And what happened in that darkness shaped your brain, your body, and your behavior in ways you are still carrying today. We think of night as downtime, a gap between days. But for ancient humans, night was its own world entirely. A world with its own rules, its own dangers, its own rituals, and its own profound social life. And almost everything we assume about how our ancestors spent those hours turns out to be wrong. Start with sleep. The modern assumption is that humans have always slept in one long block of 7 or 8 hours. You go to bed, you wake up, that is it. But that model is surprisingly recent. Historian Roger Ekirch at Virginia Tech spent over 2 decades researching pre-industrial sleep patterns across hundreds of historical documents, diaries, court records, medical texts, literary references. What he found completely overturned the standard picture. Before artificial lighting became widespread in the 19th century, humans across cultures consistently slept in 2 separate phases. A first sleep lasting roughly 3 to 4 hours, then a quiet waking period of 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night, then a second sleep until morning.
Anthropologist Jerome Groopman and researchers studying the Juhwasi people of the Kalahari Desert, along with similar studies of the Hadza in Tanzania, found that nighttime around the fire was not used primarily for sleep or rest. It was used for storytelling, not casual conversation, deep, extended, imaginative narrative. Stories about supernatural beings, moral dilemmas, animal behavior, ancestral history, and the inner lives of people the community had known. Researcher Polly Wiesner at the University of Utah analyzed hundreds of hours of recorded conversations among the Juhwasi and found a striking pattern. Daytime conversations were dominated by practical matters, food, tools, disputes, economics. But nighttime conversations around the fire were dominated almost entirely by stories. Vivid, emotionally engaging, socially instructive stories. Wiesner argues this was not entertainment, it was cognitive technology. Firelight storytelling, she proposes, was the mechanism by which ancient humans transmitted complex social knowledge across generations, built shared identity within groups, and expanded their imaginative capacity to simulate the minds and motivations of other people. In other words, the nightly story circle around the fire may have been one of the primary engines of human social intelligence, the thing that allowed our species to cooperate in groups far larger and more complex than any other animal.
Fire itself transformed the night. Before controlled fire, darkness meant danger, predators, disorientation, vulnerability. But once humans mastered fire around 400,000 years ago and began using it routinely for warmth and light, the night became something else entirely, a protected social space, a zone of relative safety within which the group could relax the vigilance required during daylight hours and turn inward, toward each other, toward imagination, toward the interior life of the community. The fire also shaped the human eye. Our vision is relatively poor in low light compared to many other species, but we are exceptional at reading faces, and firelight is ideal for exactly that. The flickering warm light of a campfire illuminates the human face in a way that makes emotional expression highly readable. Researchers have found that humans are actually better at reading certain emotional cues in flickering firelight than in flat daylight. The night, lit by fire, became the optimal environment for the kind of deep emotional attunement and social bonding that defines human relationships.
And then there was the sky. Every night, without exception, ancient humans looked up at a sky filled with thousands of visible stars. No light pollution, No competing glow on the horizon, just the full, unfiltered Milky Way arcing overhead and the slow movement of planets and constellations across the seasons. Every human culture that has ever been studied has developed sophisticated knowledge of the night sky. The stars were a calendar, a navigation system, a spiritual map, and a source of endlessly renewable wonder. The night sky was not background. It was a living text that ancient humans read every night of their lives. What does any of this mean for you, sitting under artificial light right now? It means your brain was not built for the night you actually experience. It was built for darkness lit only by fire. It was built for segmented sleep with a quiet hour in the middle. It was built for storytelling circles that lasted until the first sleep came. It was built for a sky full of stars and the sound of a fire burning down. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and let me know your thoughts in the comments below.